it because he's like, look, we're at war.
Right.
And they decided to go through with it.
Yeah. And I think something came out, I think a couple days ago, I could be wrong, but I was listening to Dave Smith talk about how Trump was actually like helping him through this. I don't know. I could be wrong.
Okay, here's during a Fox News Channel interview in February, Bondi suggested an alleged Epstein client list was sitting on her desk.
Yeah. Well, the list is one thing, right? I mean, there's so many people on the list that are probably innocent, but they're
right. They just went to the island for a party.
No, there's got to be a drive.
There's got to be
sitting in Tel Aviv right now.
Yeah, listen.
That's the other part of this too. Yeah.
I feel so bad for Jamie. Jamie has a good heart. I think
like
from just his research, that's all I really know him from. But he tries to keep Joe on.
Do you know his house is for sale in New York?
On course, but yeah.
And
got a podcast studio.
He's still there, so I can only give him so much credit.
One of the maps, and she's like, "Look at this view," because we were in the
townhouse.
Yeah, like it's not a townhouse. It's a house. It's a big ass house. It's like multiple stories.
The one right across the street from Central Park.
Yeah. That one. It's for sale right now.
How much?
I think it was like 60 or 70 million, something like that, which is what it's worth. But who wants to live in the Epstein house? First of all, if I bought that house, I'd want the Clinton painting. Can you give me that painting?
Yeah. It's gotta come with all that.
I can't believe that's a thing.
I want George Bush with the Jenga towers and the paper airplanes. I want all of it.
And then the lady just died too. The lady got hit by a car. One of the witnesses.
Yeah.
One of the Jeffrey Epstein witnesses. And then apparently she had like a husband who was abusing her. And people like to. It's just like people like to use this stuff as like a political football to like argue for whatever they believe in.
And also, when you get rich, powerful people. So here's the thing that happens with rich, powerful people. They can't go anywhere, right? If you're, like, say, a Jeff Bezos type or someone who's like an Elon Musk type. And I'm not accusing them of anything. I'm just saying at that caliber of celebrity and that caliber of prominence, you can't go anywhere. If you're Bill Clinton back in the 80s or the 90s, whatever it was, you can't go party. Right. Everybody knows who you are. You got to be protected, right? But you want these experiences. And so you have these guys, like a Jeffrey Epstein type guy, who works with the elite of the elite clientele. It's all movie stars, big-time politicians, world leaders, scientists, Nobel.
Yeah, if you're Bill Clinton, you got to get somewhere, you know what I mean? You got to do a little bit of kid. You just got to do it on a private jet. That's what Jeffrey Epstein provides, you know? That's crazy, man.
It's crazy, man.
Prize winners, and they all meet together and have fascinating conversations and cocktails, and there's beautiful girls everywhere. Of course. What a great idea.
Right.
And if you're naive and you don't understand
Started a stream boost? Come on now. You're not gonna give it to me right now?
Accusers from
Man, that's
inside
bullshit.
the house in New York.
Okay, she said there were monitors inside this cabinet.
It's like you
I
started
looked on the
stream boost,
cameras and I saw toilet, bed, toilet, she said, visibly spooked. Like, I'm never going to use the restroom here and I'm never going to sleep here. You know what I mean? It was very obvious that they were like monitoring private
there's the start of the straight boost.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody, stop. Stop scrolling. Your parents called me and they told me if you do not subscribe to help me get to 200 fucking subscribers,
cameras in it somewhere.
they are going to spank you. And you know your dad's got that whip of a hand.
Yeah, you'd have to scan the shit out of that house.
So Roger, you know you
gotta
gotta subscribe. You gotta do it. You're gonna get that whoop-ha from the dad. They called me. They got my number. I talk to them daily. Your parents, they called me. You have to subscribe or they're gonna give you a spanking.
This is like a funny example of like what I like to do.
Oh.
My mom is super left-wing.
Well, your mother's got that whip of a hand too. Whoop-ha! She's gonna get you.
An art professor, and my dad is an ex-post office worker.
You need to subscribe.
And watches Fox. So my dad only watches Fox.
That's all I'm saying. We need 200. We need to get to 200, baby. Doing some Doordash right now, baby. Oh God. Well, Roger, I'll be your dad.
Welcome to White Castle.
I'm a dad.
To begin
I can be your
ordering,
dad.
agree to the terms by saying, okay, I'm ready.
Because I do have that whip of hand. See, people like play video games. 50-50. It's 50-50, man. Oh, what? Oh.
I will now connect you to a team member. Have a nice day.
I just have a DoorDash for Leslie. Well, thank you. I'm not Jewish. I guess I'm not Jewish. That is true. That is true. I can still be your papa. You want me to be your papa? Little papa. Little papa. Let's see. Chafin? Bill Chafin? I don't even know who Chafin is. I might like him. I might not. I'm not gonna tell you. Thank you so much. Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Appreciate ya. Let's go, bitches. Let's go, little bitches. My little Doordashing baby bitches. Ooh. Listen to about Epstein again, because he's all the rage now, baby.
Why didn't they stay together? How weird. Who knows? And I like to take things that are happening and then controversial things, like for Epstein example, and I like to just call my mom and argue with her, argue the right-wing side against my mom's point of view on Epstein, and then I'll call my dad and I'll make the same argument toward the opposite argument towards him. It's like a thought experiment, or like a critical thinking exercise.
You use your parents
and my
to spar
mom
with.
My mom, she'll be like, of course, Trump, there's more footage of Trump with Epstein than anybody. Are you kidding me? He's partying with him here. Of course he's compromised. And then my dad's like, it's fucking Clinton, bro. It's like, it's only
Clinton
Bill
is
Clinton.
too.
Look, he's
Clinton's
the only one
fucking
on the Epstein files. Of course we know he's a pervert, all this stuff. But and then you have,
yeah, but the enlightened, middle of the road approach here is that they both are implicated.
Bingo, bango, put it in the Django, put the fries in the bag, and then check it, clock it, and then that's it. Those motherfuckers, all those politicians, they'd be wrapped up, sent off to Azkaban.
Interesting guy. No, you full disrespect. Okay, fair. He literally did say.
There's the.
I don't care about the Diddy stuff.
Mentors. They suck your soul. And it hurts when you're in Azkaban.
Perfectly fine by him.
Hey, what's up, Sawyer? Hey, we're doing a sub train to get me up to 200. You wouldn't happen to, be able to do that. It's free. I'll get you a pizza next time we meet.
Right. So, the girl we were just talking about, Virginia, she was literally on video saying that all this shit about Bill Clinton on the jet, going to the island, hanging out with Trump and all this stuff, and the right-wing people, like people I know, my parents and older folks I know in Florida, will say, she came out, thank you for exposing Bill Clinton for being a pedo and doing all this stuff. And Virginia Giuffre, after this happened, she's like, you guys didn't listen to the whole fucking tape. Telling you Trump was at visited. You guys don't want weird thing. If you do the math, there's gotta be so many high-level powerful people that are somehow compromised. And do I think Clinton and these guys are pedos? No, I don't think that at all.
I do, but
if you were Jeffrey Epstein,
I do.
Dog, are you kidding me? Be for real.
Fuck
dude.
yeah, dude.
If
You're kidding me? Even if it's 17-year-olds, I know all those fucking gray fucking hair assholes.
Are we serious? If Bill Clinton's not a pedophile,
yeah,
then who is?
They did stuff. They fucking did stuff. Those motherfuckers. No
relevance in the real world, I guess. What are we talking about, man? Bill Clinton not a pedophile? What?
I think it's super plausible to assume that he would tried to trick them with like a girl who looks old, right? Who is possibly like on the borderline of being 18.
that might be
Oh,
true.
yeah, this girl, she's 18, 19, 20, whatever. Meanwhile, she's like 17, and they had no idea.
It's still their
and
responsibility to find out. They can't just be
in
told.
like a court of law, if I'm the judge, I'm gonna let them. Like, of course they lied.
Fuck that.
And this is
again,
not like
where does self-responsibility come into this fucking equation, dude?
What is this argument, bro? This motherfucker crazy. What a bizarre way to. Dude, did conspiracy theorists lose their minds completely where they just like don't even do the normal conspiracy theories you would expect? What am I gonna do? Push back, Joe? Yes, you push back when a person is lying to you.
In like the court of public opinion, you're never gonna win in that case, right? Like that comes out.
If you just go into the island and bang hookers, like it's like they're of age, it's still like whatever he trade on people's desire for experiences and vice.
Yes.
And all these powerful people who, again, they can't just go call a hooker and the hooker goes, oh my God, I just blew Bill Gates. This is nuts. You know what I mean? Like, you can't trust them. So you have to trust someone who
probably
really has a lockdown organization. They felt like he did.
Yeah.
And that's why they all hung out with him even after he got arrested. This is what's crazy.
That is crazy.
A lot of Bill Gates meetings with him were after he was prosecuted. And he got this little slap on the wrist, and he got essentially a home detainment, and I think he had to do like weekends at the jail. Like it was like great for underage
that was
sex
true.
For was supposed to be a felony.
Yep.
The whole thing is crazy. And then when there's one reporter that really chased it down, I forget her name, but she really looked into it, and that's when they opened up the second case, the second trial. Vicky Ward. Was she from what paper? Vanity Fair. So she was responsible for because she was like, this is insane. Like, what's going on here? And then there was the sheriff that had arrested him, said that I was told he was intelligence. And
no, it was.
I mean, you gotta
Julia
think
Brown.
if a guy like that
from Miami
is
Herald
running these kind of parties with all these rich and powerful people, how many different worldwide decisions can be manipulated because of these people and the compromises you have on them?
Right.
It's really a brilliant thing to do.
Yeah.
From an intelligence perspective.
Bro, this is craziest way.
It's not
this
smart.
Is the craziest way to cover the.
It's
Jeffrey
not the
Epstein
smart
situation.
thing to do. I could think of that. It's immoral. That's what it is.
That was wild, man. I don't know. It's as close to an open and shut situation as you're gonna get with like a lot of understandable curiosity surrounding the parts that we do not have verifiable evidence for. And they still found a way to talk about it in the weirdest way possible. Where he's like, well, you got to get into the money.
Yo,
right?
what's up, Powell?
Bill Clinton is a.
Thank you so much for joining me. I'm trying to get 200 subscribers, so subscribe, please. We're just hit 100. Next step, the 200. And we can only do it with your help.
No good news on this front, sports fans. All of us continue to wiggle our cheeks into the front row seats to blatant, evil, degenerate corruption with the most obvious cover-up of all time and
Trina, I couldn't read it because of the bounciness.
Today, I'm sure a lot of you saw there was an amendment put forth that would try and force the DOJ to release the information they have on Epstein. I'm going to go ahead and immediately tackle the titties on this one up front because some new talking points have hit the influencers' desks. A bunch of these shill android homunculi are going around with a pocket watch out trying to hypnotize the public into believing that this amendment was trying to push for something that it wasn't. They are claiming that this amendment would...
Alright. Interesting. Let's go ahead and this part right here, I guess. I got it. Alright. Stay here. I'll be back. Don't go anywhere. It's not safe for you out here. Ugh. Oh, hi. There's 3 people in here. Oh, gosh. Oh, my gosh. Alright, let's see. What's going on here? Why not? Let's do some Fallout stuff.
Ever wondered what's going on in your state in Fallout?
Yes.
Obviously, unless you live in California, Nevada, or Washington, D.C., or a select few others. Luckily for me, Honest Hearts gave me a little preview of what the current environment is like in Utah, and I seriously love that. Seeing Zion...
Oh, we got another order. Let's see. I guess. I hear yous. I get it. I get it.
Paris have been to many times come to life in a Fallout game was pretty amazing. So I wanted to make a video looking at all the information we have on every state in the US and what the current climate might look like for them. I want to make it clear that many of these states have almost no information and only references to them found in the games. So for those, I'll mention their references and some interesting info. We won't be speculating on what they might be like, and we're going to focus on only the confirmed canon elements. I don't want to get too long-winded on these, especially the places we've already seen and know and love. If you enjoy Fallout or videos like this, consider subscribing. We always appreciate you guys, and enjoy.
Let's go in alphabetical order, except backwards. Why? Because why not? And also because a lot of the states A through C we've already seen. We want to talk about new states and new things. Also, if we don't mention a state, then that means we basically have no reference or lore of that state at all.
Okay.
At least yet. So keep that in mind.
So while Wyoming doesn't actually appear in any Fallout games yet, it does get a few shoutouts, mostly as potential escape plans for factions who didn't quite have the best of luck elsewhere. First up, we've got the Great Khans. Depending on how things go during the second Battle of Hoover Dam, these guys might just pack up their chems and head north to Wyoming. Honestly, not a bad choice. Less NCR breathing down their necks and more open land for raiding, settling. Then we've got the White Lakes, the violent wannabe Legion tribe from Honest Hearts. If Joshua Graham and the Dead Horses win their war, the surviving White Lakes stood off into the wilds of Wyoming. But, turns out, Wyoming's winters are no joke. Half of them freeze to death and the rest just scatter to the winds, never to be heard from again.
Unable to shake the memory of their brutal defeat and the Dead Horses' savagery in battle, the White Lakes feared further reprisals. They fled north, out of Utah, into Wyoming. The wilderness was harsh, and the first winter claimed over half the tribe. When spring came, the survivors parted ways in small bands, and so the White Lakes died a quiet, ignominious death.
I think we can agree that maybe a nuclear winter wasn't such a great idea. These are the only references we've had for Wyoming, unfortunately. I think Wyoming would be a cool place to see. Mutated bison, geysers, it could make for an interesting setting. Similar to something like West Virginia in '76.
Speaking on West Virginia, let's talk about Appalachia and Fallout 76. Like Mason said earlier, we don't want to get too long-winded on games that we have already experienced, so we'll just go over the highlights and things of that nature. Appalachia, depending on who you are and how you say it, is divided into 6 regions, each with its own unique identity and challenges. The forest, with its rolling green hills and small scattered settlements, serves as a starting point for many survivors. Further north, the Toxic Valley is a wasteland coated in chemical residue, a deadly reminder of the pre-war industry that once thrived there. Travel south and you'll find yourself in the Ash Heap, an industrial hellscape where coal mines still burn long after the bombs fell. The Savage Divide, a vast mountain range cutting through the map, hides remnants of the pre-war elite, while the Mire is a dense, fog-covered swamp filled with mutated horrors. Then there's Cranberry Bog, a region as beautiful as it is deadly, home to the remnants of the Enclave and the fearsome scorched beasts that dominate the skies. Though Vault 76 residents were meant to rebuild society, they emerged to find Appalachia already filled with stories of those who had tried, and those who have failed. The Responders, a faction made up of emergency service workers, had attempted to help survivors, setting up camps and training centers only to be wiped out by the horrifying Scorched Plague.
with you.
Okay. I just have a Doordash.
Hi, how may I help you?
I just have a Doordash.
1 second, what's the name?
Eli.
Second window.
Thank you.
Made its way into the region, establishing strongholds and fighting off the Scorched, but even they were unable to hold their ground. What remains of these factions is scattered throughout the world, pieces of history waiting to be uncovered. Beneath the surface of Appalachia lies a web of pre-war secrets, particularly when it comes to its government and military operations. West Virginia was home to several classified facilities, including the White Spring Bunker, which acted as a shadow government hub where even high-ranking officials could survive nuclear annihilation. This bunker, heavily automated and still operational long after the bombs fell, became a key location for the Enclave. Outside of the Enclave's influence, pre-war West Virginia was also home to projects like the Free States Movement, a group of survivalists who distrusted the government and took extreme measures to prepare for nuclear war. When the bombs did drop, they retreated into bunkers beneath the mire, only to meet a slow and tragic end when the Scorched invaded. Their fears of government overreach turned out to be well justified, but in the end, isolation wasn't enough to save them. Of course, no story about Appalachia would be complete without its cryptids, the legendary creatures of West Virginia folklore brought to life in terrifying ways. The Mothman, a winged glowing-eyed enigma, appears throughout the game, sometimes as a passive observer, sometimes as a hostile force. The Flatwoods Monster, inspired by real-life encounters, roams the land in its eerie floating form. Then there's the Grafton Monster, this brute that seems to be a remnant of some kind of pre-war experiment. These creatures, alongside the mutated monstrosities left behind by the war, make Appalachia one of the most dangerous and mysterious settings in Fallout history. But what West Virginia is like now, and also outside of the Appalachia region, is anyone's guess. We have no info on it beyond 76, which took place nearly 200 years before the current timeline. A lot of stuff could change in that time as the radiation morphs the wasteland even further.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news for my friends in Washington, but we have hardly any information to go on. And honestly, I think Washington and Seattle would make a really interesting setting for a Fallout game. In Fallout 76, in the town of Charleston, we can find a piece of junk mail.
Isn't Washington
this one right
3?
here. It's likely one of those marketing scams designed to make the person open the envelope. We can see that it came from Walla Walla, Washington, from a company called Rockwell Clearinghouse. This is currently the only piece of lore we have mentioning Washington, which seems crazy. In Fallout 3, Jack Smith claims that Virginia has been gone for over 200 years, yet the spirit of the Commonwealth of Virginia supposedly lives on in Andale, a small settlement in the capital wasteland. Meanwhile, in Fallout 4, we get glimpses of Virginia's past through places like Thicket Excavations, which once ordered materials from a company based in Petersburg, Virginia. Though Fallout 76 focuses on West Virginia, Virginia itself is referenced quite a bit throughout the Appalachia. The Robco Research Center in Cranberry Bog is confirmed to be located within Virginia, thanks to messages from its administrator Lisa Fields. There's also Camp Venture, which started as a military training ground for the endurance and survival training of the Virginians program. This suggests that the region was once a key location for military preparedness, something that likely played a role in the war effort before the world collapsed. Even characters in Fallout 76 have ties to Virginia. Lacey Drummond and this person, that I can't pronounce their name, both hail from the state, with Lacey claiming that Virginia had more hot zones than even the radioactive wilds of Appalachia, which seems wild considering how ridiculously mutated the Appalachian region is. Joe Cree comes from the Virginia coast, and Russell Dorsey recalls meeting someone while traveling along a Virginian road. One of Virginia's most iconic locations, the Shenandoah National Park, appears in Fallout 76 as part of the Skyline Valley region. The Virginia School District even had buses operating in the area, with one such bus still visible, crashed into a tree near the South River Bridge. So we get some brief but interesting information on Virginia, especially with the hot zone comment. On October 23, 2077, Salt Lake City became one of the many casualties of the Great War. Within 7 minutes, 13 nuclear warheads rained down on the city, engulfing it in fire and leaving nothing but craters, collapsed buildings, and charred skeletons of once great skyscrapers. When the smoke finally cleared, all that remained were the ruins of a few unlucky survivors stranded outside the cities when the bombs hit, one of whom was Randall Clark, the legendary survivalist whose story is deeply tied to honest hearts. Unfortunately, his wife and child weren't as lucky, perishing in the destruction. Like most devastated cities, Salt Lake was soon picked clean by scavengers. Any remaining resources, from food to weapons, were stripped away over time. Even pre-war law enforcement gear like the SWAT vest worn by Joshua Graham was recovered from the wreckage and repurposed by those who would later shape the region's fate. By the 2280s, the city was still a dangerous place, overrun by wasteland horrors, including giant mantises so numerous that they covered the ruins like blankets. By the way, the mantis information comes from the Fallout Bible, which is mostly considered non-canon, so take that with a grain of salt. If anyone wanted to reach the city safely, their best bet was traveling via Interstate 80 or passing through New Canaan, a post-war settlement that would later be destroyed by the White Legs under the orders from Caesar's Legion. Though Salt Lake City itself is uninhabitable, its influence lingers in the Mojave and beyond. The New Canaanites, a group of Mormon settlers who once lived near the ruins, were deeply connected to its history, though their settlement was ultimately wiped out in Caesar's war against them. Meanwhile, the White Legs scavenged heavily from Salt Lake's ruins, equipping themselves with old world weapons and armor to prove their worth to Caesar's Legion. Perhaps the most famous figure tied to Salt Lake City is Joshua Graham, the infamous Bird Man. He was once a high-ranking officer of Caesar's Legion, the original Malpais legate, before being betrayed, set on fire, and thrown into the Grand Canyon. Graham survived, returned to New Canaan, and helped lead its people, at least until the White Legs came knocking. His armor, specifically his SLCPD marked SWAT vest, is a direct relic of Salt Lake's pre-war past, linking him to the city even after its destruction. Deep in the heart of Utah, Zion Canyon, formerly known as Zion National Park, stands as one of the most beautiful yet battle-worn locations in the Fallout universe. Unlike the heavily irradiated wastelands of the Mojave, or even the Capital Wasteland, Zion was spared from the direct nuclear bombardment. While Fallout initially poisoned the rivers and wildlife, nature quickly recovered, making Zion one of the few places where clean, radiation-free water still exists. But that doesn't mean Zion was safe. Over the years, the canyon became home to survivors, scavengers, and later warring tribes that would shape its future. The first known post-war inhabitant of Zion was Randall Clark, a former U.S. soldier who fled here after Salt Lake City was destroyed. He lived in isolation, documenting his survival in journals while watching over newcomers from the shadows. One of these groups